Hey everyone, Bobby here. I want to make sure people can hear me. Can you hear me? If you can, just give me a thumbs up so I know what's going on here because I'm going to just check this out and test it. I'm able to do the stuff, but I'm not sure if people can hear me. So let me just, if my headphones aren't working, I'll take them, let me take them out. Oh wait, I was talking and I was talking and nobody was listening because I was muted. Oh God. Okay, so I was saying, hey guys, Bobby Amar here. Talking about content creation today around LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram because those are three very popular places. If you want to come on stage and learn more about what we're talking about, put your hand up. I'd love to learn more about you and your story, your brand. Feel free to pitch your business. I'm really big on networking. So those of you who are here, this is a chance for you to, talk about who you are and what you're all about. And I can, give you some strategies and tips that'll work for you on whatever platform you want to learn about. So today the topic is content creation. And again, I'm quite prolific on all different platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. You'll see me on all those different platforms. And so being a content creator, I'm happy to share my insights. A little bit about myself. I'm a professional speaker by trade. For the last 17 years, I've traveled around the world and delivered 1,000 keynotes and workshops across 4 continents. I've done 5 TEDx talks, and I'm a digital influencer and content creator. I have over 650,000 followers across Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I also am a prolific content creator. I've done over 200,000 tweets and I've delivered over 2,000 posts on LinkedIn. And I've done 6,000 posts on Instagram. And so I definitely create content all the time. And so we'd like to get more people in this room so they can learn from this conversation and be part of it. So if you guys wouldn't mind sharing sharing this with your network. You can actually tweet the tweet that's up there in the nested section, so more people can join the conversation today. I would appreciate that, and also you can DM people as well. So that's really what I want to talk about today. So right now we'll see if we get more people into the room. So just give me a second. I'm gonna DM a few folks and see if we can get some more folks into this room. Okay, so just give me like uh, 20 seconds, and while we're doing this, I can talk a bit more about why content creation is so important. I mean, the reason why content creation is so important is because content is a way for you to set yourself apart. It's a way for you to start a conversation. It's a way for you to show who you are and showcase your brand, which I think is actually really important. So hopefully, people will understand the importance of it. Content is has been one of the biggest drivers of my entire strategy as an influencer, as a speaker, as an expert. I'm a professional speaker and a coach, but people sign up for me. They reach out to me because they see my content, they've seen my blog posts, they've seen my videos, they've seen what I post on LinkedIn and Twitter and all that type and all the different places. And that's kind of where we have that's how I build that connection, build that community. So that's why, again, for me, content creation is a game changer. It's what sets all of us apart. So if you want to learn more about how to be a good content creator, that's really what today's about. Now, when it comes to trends, I mean, there's lots of trends out there. There's a lot of trends, and let's start with LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, actually, let's start with the trend that's affecting everything. One of the biggest trends across all different content creation platforms and all social media platforms is ChatGPT and AI, artificial intelligence. If anyone here has used ChatGPT, it's actually quite adept at putting together content for those who struggle with content. If you're not, if you're having a hard time putting together content, it's a great way to create something. And I'll give an example of something I just did. I had in my head for about a month a newsletter article I wanted to put together. But I was daunted by the challenge of, oh man, there's just a lot of research and there's a lot of stuff I have to write. And, I prefer tweets and, short posts on LinkedIn or videos because I find that a lot easier to do. But for me, I was like, I don't want to do a newsletter because it's long. It's like 500 to 1,000 words, and you have to like take the time to organized it really well. And so I used ChatGPT to actually put together an article that's about 700 words long. And I did it so fast just by asking the right questions. So a really big trend right now is using ChatGPT and AI to generate content. And it generated all this content for me, which I then organized in a way that I felt was good. And I saved myself a huge amount of time. It was actually unbelievable how much time I saved by using ChatGPT. So, for those just joining us, we're talking about content creation trends across LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And one thing I'm talking about is the number one thing that's helped me for across all three platforms is using ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT to come up with a newsletter that's been in my head for about a couple of weeks, and I was not doing it because I was so daunted by it. But ChatGPT helped me put it together in literally like 20 minutes. It was actually amazing, and now I have this amazing piece of content that I'm just going to massage and add imagery and whatnot, and I'll be able to use that for a newsletter that I'm going to launch. I'll launch on LinkedIn, then I'll put it on other, repurpose on other platforms. So for me, that is a huge trend. If anyone here has used ChatGPT or AI for creating content, I would love to hear from you. I'd love for you to put your hand up on stage and come and chat with me. I'd love to learn more about what you're doing. For me, that is a big trend that we cannot ignore. I'm even doing an event in next month in Toronto, specifically on ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, how it helps us with our business and our brands. So the topic is all about content creation. And again, I'd love to get more people in the room. So, I'll keep talking and see if we can get more folks to come on stage or at least come in the room or both. I'd love for people to come into the room as well as, come on stage. We can talk more about it. And let's see if we can get more people to actually join us in the space today. So, yeah. And for me, the ChatGPT is one of the best trends that's out there. Now, let's talk specifically about a trend on LinkedIn. So, one of the big trends of LinkedIn is what they call collaborative articles. Now, these are articles that are actually generated by AI. And what LinkedIn's doing is this, they come up with these interesting article topics and titles, and they invite people on the platform to contribute. And if you contribute well enough, people will mark your content or your comments as insightful, which then gets you noticed. And then eventually, if you do a really good job of contributing, they will give you a badge. So I've actually contributed when they started, and now I have a top voice badge on LinkedIn on the topic of presentation skills. I'm now working on a couple other topics as well, but it's been a fantastic way to showcase who you are and share your knowledge. So, if this is something that if you're on LinkedIn and you want to actually be able to leverage LinkedIn from a content perspective, the collaborative article piece is really compelling. It's a really good way to actually do that for you. So, I encourage you to all check that out. And if you don't know how it works, just search collaborative articles. You'll be able to see them on LinkedIn. So. With that, if anybody else has any other questions about content on LinkedIn or Twitter, Instagram, I'd love for you to come up on stage. I would encourage you to invite other folks to join this conversation because, again, we'd love to have more people get get access to the content and to learn from the conversation. So, would love to have more people here. So, I see some people are tweeting this out, which is great. I appreciate that. Love to have more people on stage. So if you want to come on stage and ask a question, you can. My goal is to help you all get better at content creation. And my goal is also to help you get more prolific with multi-platform content creation. That to me is a big trend that I've been talking about in 2023. All of us need to create content, not just on one platform, but multi-platform. Why? Because that's what increases your reach. It diversifies your audience, and you can hook people to join you on your main platform, wherever that might be. Some people's main platform is LinkedIn, some of it's Twitter, sometimes it's Instagram. For me, my main platform is LinkedIn, but I go on Twitter with Twitter Spaces and content to then attract them to my LinkedIn Spaces or my LinkedIn platform. So that's kind of what I'm doing to do that. So we talked about ChatGPT as a really great tool for content creation. I shared a trend that's on LinkedIn that everyone should be using, which is called collaborative articles. I'll share more stuff today if people want to come up and actually do that. And then the other one I'll talk about is, what are the trends on, what about Instagram? What's the trend on Instagram? Well, I mean, the big thing with Instagram now is, they're pushing the reels, right? So if you can do short form reels under 90 seconds, those are, Instagram's really pushing the video reels. Video content is by far incredibly important, but video reels are very important. So if you have a chance to take whatever content you have and turn it into a reel, short ones are even better. Like some short ones actually do well on TikTok as well as on YouTube. So creating 15 to 30-second are even more powerful than the ones that are the ones that are on uh, than the longer ones. I think that you doing short reels go very, very well. So if anyone here tried reels, if you have, let me know what type you're doing and how that's working on Instagram. Because for me, when I do a regular image post, it does fine, but when I do a video post, it does way, way better on there. And reels in particular, like if I do a longer post, less likely to do well. I'm not saying you can't. You can still do well with a post that's image based or video based or longer video based, but because they're pushing shorter form videos, they're going to be pushing that for trend. So that's why it's so important to be able to do that. And then finally, lastly, we've talked about content creation trend that helps LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, which I said was ChatGPT and AI. We talked about a LinkedIn a trend, which was collaborative articles. We talked about Instagram trends, which is of course the short video reel. Now, what are some of the Twitter trends? I mean, what's interesting is that now there's some people who are doing longer tweets, which is interesting. I mean, for those who subscribe to the paid subscription, I have not really adopted that model because I enjoy my Twitter threads, to be honest, if I have to use one, and I do like the short form of tweets and sharing articles to other posts that I'm doing. But to me, I mean, honestly, the trend that I would say that on Twitter that's really is really important that people don't really think about is Twitter Spaces. I think Twitter Spaces are a great trend. Not everyone's using these things, and more people should understand and realize the power of audio rooms and audio spaces and how they actually create greater conversations. They create more greater trust and likability because it's a two-way conversation. Like those of you who are listening, that's great, but you're all welcome to come up on stage and just talk to me. Whereas when I do a tweet or I do a video live stream, I'm just pushing it out to people. Whereas here, if any of you want, you all can just come up on stage and say, "Hey, Bobby, how's it going?" and share a bit about what you're doing. And I encourage you all to do that if you'd like. You're more than welcome to put your hand up, come up on stage. I love to hear from folks. I love to give them a platform to share who they are and what they're all about. For me, this is really what Twitter Spaces is designed for. So, not enough people are using Twitter Spaces as one of the content creation trends. The other thing that's great about Twitter Spaces is that I can share a link up above here. So I see there's a tweet up there that I've put in the nest. I can put multiple tweets in the nest to show you the conversation and what we're talking about. At the same time, I also get a recording, right? So this entire conversation gets to be recorded, which also I can use and I can repurpose for whatever I need. So all these different things go a long way to helping us leverage this platform. So if you haven't been using Twitter Spaces for your content strategy, I highly recommend that actually this should be part of something that you do. So I encourage you all to think about that and put that as part of your strategy. Those who are here now, I mean, it's a small crowd, but if we have more people coming in, we'd love to have you here. Right now we got 6 of us, but feel free to put the first pinned tweet up there and tweet it out to your followers. You can also DM folks. You can also click on that bubble below and and ask a question if you want. If you can't come on stage, you're welcome to just click on that conversation bubble there in the bottom right and use that as a tool to be part of the conversation. So I encourage you to do that. And we have some people coming in here. I'd love to get to some of you folks on stage to talk about what is your content strategy? What exactly are you doing to build your content strategy? For me, there's lots of things that I'm doing, and I'm always following different trends. I also want to mention the second tweet that I put in the nest. I just started. I just shared a video on YouTube. It's 10 minutes long, but basically I'm announcing the launch of the new Thought Leadership Brand Club 2.0 relaunch. So we're relaunching on June 30th, and we'll put together a really amazing platform within our membership community to help people grow their businesses, grow their brands, work on their content, work on their speaking, get a TED Talk, get a book deal, get media appearances, everything you need to do to build your brand and have a good content strategy. It's all there. So we'd love to have you take a look at that. And if you have any question, you're more than welcome to come to ping me or ask me a question. So does anybody have any questions specifically on content creation trends? Does anybody have something they're doing? Is there a trend that you're doing that you're using for your content strategy? There's a lot of people here that on the platform. I see Kamalita's here and Adam's here, Frank. A few other people are here. If you want to come on stage, just put your hand up. And you can just put your hand like that, or you can just put your hand and come on stage. And we'd love to have people on stage because that's kind of what I do with these Twitter Spaces. To me, Twitter Spaces shouldn't really be about me just talking to you guys one to many. It's about having people on stage sharing their knowledge, sharing and networking with each other and talking to each other. So for me, that's a big part of what I do. Adam is here, and Adam always has been a really good contributor, and someone always steps up. So we do love Adam for that. Adam, how are you?
Hey, Bobby. Good morning. Well, as you can hear, I'm slightly under the weather with a bit of a cold, but I'm I gotta take a moment and underscore that a huge part of content creation that's been successful for me has been very publicly expressing gratitude for people who are part of your journey, right, in a positive way, because whether we are working in large companies or if you're a solo founder of a startup, the reality is you're still not an island. You're not doing those things by yourself. You still have great customers, employees, coworkers, investors, whatever. And so I think a huge part of understanding that great content doesn't have to be super original, post ideas every morning. It can be something as simple as expressing gratitude and acknowledging credit. And a perfect example of that is the interaction you and I had just a few minutes ago before you started the space, because we're launching this huge InnovATL initiative here in Atlanta, and I'm on the steering committee for that, and it's been months of planning and coordination from people all around the Atlanta tech ecosystem. The Metro Chamber, Startup Atlanta, Venture Atlanta. I mean, it goes Techstars Atlanta, goes right down the list. And so, it's part of the content that I want people to understand is your content is so heavy on retweeting other people, showing support for the people in your network. And that makes up a huge part of your content feed, either on Twitter or, Instagram stories or LinkedIn. And I think that it's necessary to keep in mind that that's a really great way of sending lots of different positive signals, right? Because sharing something out tells the other person that you care, that you're a part of their journey. It also tells your followers, your community, that you are invested in their success and their projects, not just your own. And so expressing gratitude for that is a really great way of creating the kind of content that people really do, I think, want to consume, because it's not just, you don't feel like you're being talked down to. It's kind of a lead by example kind of thing. And so I just thought that was a really good a good segue to talk about something that when we talk about content creation, I don't think that we spend enough time talking about the really simple things that maybe don't feel like content creation, but they do provide an enormous amount of value for your network, for your community, and an enormous amount of potential access for people who are new coming into your community, who can look at that and say, "Wow, that's kind of nice that the person at the top who I follow really seems to value the engagement and value the content." And so I think that I wanted to just kind of kick that out there because it was a perfect, timely example based on the exchange you and I had on Twitter, like only what 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of gratitude being a catalyst for content. I mean, one of the easiest ways to have content is to show gratitude for people. So, I did a post yesterday on LinkedIn just about Mother's Day and talking about my three moms in my life, my wife, my mom, and my mother-in-law, and what lessons they taught me. And that's content. But even like just a small exchange between people, I mean, Adam, and to explain to people like Adam and I mean, here's where gratitude works. I mentioned the event today, and then I said, "Hey, it'd be nice to see some people that I like and admire to come to the event." And so I tagged a few folks, including Adam. So I'm showing a little bit of gratitude and acknowledging people who are really helpful to me and the community. People I think are really really cool. And then he tweets back saying, "Ah, I might be there, blah blah blah. But I'm also doing this big thing." And in doing so, as soon as I saw what he was talking about, I retweeted it. So Adam's talking about his big launch, which is great. I retweet that to my 500,000 followers. That's beneficial to him, but I'm also really grateful because he responded, right? So it's win-win, right? Sharing gratitude and helping each other out, I think, goes a long way. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's the easiest piece of content, and often when I tell people, those who are afraid to put content out there, just sharing gratitude goes well. That also works for replies or commenting strategies. If you want to comment on LinkedIn or on Instagram, or you want to get someone's attention on Twitter, replying in a grateful way and talking about how awesome they are, I think goes a long way to getting their attention. So these are all things you can use to get started. I mean, the topic today was more about trends. Like, what are the trends that people are using? But I think Adam makes a good point. Like, let's get back to the basics. What gets you started with content and putting it out there? And I think gratitude is a fantastic way to go. So thanks for that, Adam. Why don't you tell us more about your big event? Are
Yeah,
you
I
there
mean,
now? I'm grateful because he came up and helped me in my space, and now I want him to promote himself. This is beautiful.
well, and I apologize for having a cold this morning, but
I don't even
this
notice,
is
Adam. You're good, man. You're
the
good, man. You're fine.
radio voice, right?
Yeah, it's good.
So this is so it's called InnovATL 2023, and basically what it is so Bobby, that my thing is networking, building networks, showing people how to create access and do it in a way that is um, non-transactional, how to build long-term dialogues and networks and such. And so I was pulled into this initiative a few months ago. There were rumblings about it around Christmas time, and basically since early February, we've been planning this, and this is not one particular company or organization driving this. This is Atlanta, the Atlanta, like I said, the Metro Chamber. We have representation from the mayor's office, from a number of really heavyweight tech hubs from around the city, journalists, innovators, etc. And we wanted to put together something that was inclusive, not just of people in tech, but Bobby, I think part of my history is I spent a decade in change in the music world. I've done journalism, and so there are a lot of people who we were really pushing for how do we capture the innovative and creative overlays in the metro Atlanta region, and that doesn't have to be tech. It could be people who are doing amazing things with food, film, theater, music, local nonprofits and civics, stuff like that. And so what this is a a month worth of stuff. It's September 26th to October 20th. So it starts right after the Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And it's open to anybody who wants to run events. And it's really geared at creating a more cohesive environment so that we can have lots of events that are not cannibalizing each other. Right. So we have one week that's maybe more dedicated to tech, and then we're going to have another week that's maybe more dedicated to film. Um, you know, South by Southwest is a really great model, but they've been around for many, many years, and so they have their formula kind of down pat, and we're just kind of figuring out what we want our formula to look like. And it's open to, like I said, lots of people who want to run events. And so the reason that it's necessary to to that it actually works really well with the cross section of this conversation this morning is because these are relationships that I've spent years building. That's how you gain access, is by creating value, by expressing gratitude, by being a part of the community in a positive way. And also underlays the fact that a lot of the people who are part of this are very reachable. And that overlays with, what I do speaking on and consulting on. And I'm actually, I don't know if I told you, Bobby, I'm writing a book on this, how people can build massive networks from scratch. And we could talk about that more later if you like. But it is exactly what you mentioned before. While we're talking about trends, the reality is that algorithms change over time. They prioritize different things, and so it's good to be aware of the trends and to think about, is LinkedIn prioritizing video this month, or text or pictures. But it's also important, I think, not to chase trends at the expense of forgetting the basics, right? Show up, create value before you ask for it, do it patiently, do it consistently. And consistency doesn't have to mean like the exact same time every single day, because I'm such a big proponent of mental health. So, do it and modulate it as is healthy. But I think that, so anyway, that's what this InnovATL thing is. And obviously it's open to, you don't have to live in Atlanta. We would love to have other people come in and run events if you can, if you want. I mean, you're welcome to follow me and send me a message. And, we want to blow this up as big as we can. Um, but yeah, that's what it is right now. And, I want to take another moment and say how grateful I am to have it retweeted to 500,000 people, whether they're in the Atlanta area or not, is amazing. And, so I want everyone here to understand, like, you can humble yourself and just say a simple thank you. That's really good content. That's what builds really good relationships over time. And you don't always have to be like in the pitch mindset. But when you have great relationships, you get an opportunity to pitch something. And so it's funny that way.
Speaking of pitching and great relationships, I mean, if you're accepting Canadian speakers like myself, that'd be fun to go down there. I mean, I've always,
We
I
we
always love going down to the U.S. to do stuff. You never know.
well, we're just getting it off the ground. I mean, certainly, it's not going to be only people who live here or who do business here. Obviously, I know that you travel a lot and do speaking and stuff like that. I'm also working on another another event, which I think that you'll be really, really interested in. But I can't announce it just yet. But I think that that's a really great kind of segue into how doors open. This, I mean, it happened here in real time. Hey, if you're accepting speakers, I'd love to throw my hat in the ring. That's how it happens with people, and vice versa. If there's something that's up in Toronto, I'd love to go to Toronto. I haven't actually been there before. So That's what building networks and relationships is about. And we did that just now without submitting a resume and submitting a cover letter. And it's just because we're familiar with each other's content. We like the value that the other person brings to our respective networks. And, I'm happy that I was able to, hop in here and create some value for your community this morning.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful for that too, and and that's why I tweeted, "Thanks for your contribution." I think that's, and also typically after I do these events, I'll do a replay, I'll share, and I'll say, "Hey, thanks for insights from the few people that came up on stage." So speaking of that, if anybody wants to come on stage and share knowledge, or ask a question, or talk about what you're doing in regards to content creation trends, this is the time to do it. We'd love to have you put your hand up and join us. Normally, I have a couple of co-hosts with me. Usually, I have Melanie and Indra, who are my co-hosts, but both of them are busy working on something else, so they weren't able to come today. So that's why it's just me handling the roost for the most part. But I do love talking about content creation and trends, and that's why it's such a great topic because people want to know. And I think there's basic content creation that you need to think about, but also knowing what the trends are allows you to actually take advantage of it, right? And so a good example is again the LinkedIn one, which collaborative articles is something they're pushing, and so you can actually just all you have to do is you look at one of their posts that is on a topic that you care about, and then you just put in a relevant comment or insight in there. And if you do it enough times, then LinkedIn will reward you with a top voice badge, which is now featured on your profile. I have it now on my LinkedIn profile, and I can say, "Hey, I'm a LinkedIn top voice on presentation skills." I mean, it's cool branding to have, and much like my much missed blue check mark that I had as a legacy OG verified guy. I miss that now, but it's certainly it's good to have badges, right? So the badge that I got from LinkedIn on being a top voice is great for my brand. And so that's a really easy one. You can just start to, you don't have to create your own articles or your own posts. You can just actually comment in an insightful, thoughtful way. Throw in a bit of data, throw in a little story there, and you actually get recognized. If you do it consistently for like 30 days, then LinkedIn can recognize you as a top voice contributor. So that to me is a really great trend that a lot of people are not using, and they should. And then the other one I think that's really important from a trend perspective is short videos are doing extremely well. I mean, I had a video that I posted on YouTube. I'm not really a YouTube guy, but I shared a video on YouTube and it now has like 15,000 views. I'm like, holy cow, how did that happen? Like, it's unbelievable because the short videos that are 15 seconds long, like, oh my gosh, they do so much better than the longer stuff that I post. And some of them have like 2,000, 3,000, like versus my regular views, which is like, maybe 50 to 100. So seeing that trend and riding with it, I'm all for it. I'm not really someone who does 15-second videos. I used to be more of a 1 minute, 2 minute guy, but I'm willing to take the trend and kind of roll with it because not all the time, but once in a while, you experiment with things, you learn about it, and if you stay on top of the content creation trends, that's actually going to help you with your overall content strategy. So if anybody wants to come on stage, you're more than welcome to do that and to put your hand up and we'll bring you up here. Otherwise, Adam, if there's anything else you want to kind of go into, we can do that. I'm happy to do that.
You caught me sipping tea,
Oh, no
so
worries. No worries, no worries.
so
I
I want
mean,
to definitely make sure everyone else gets a chance to talk. But otherwise, yeah, we can chat.
no, it's just you and me that we can just chat about this stuff. I mean, are you using, where do you spend most of your time? Are you using all three of these or focusing on one versus the other? Like, tell me a bit more about that.
Well, so for a long time I've been a Twitter fiend, um, because I love referential humor. I do tell people I was giving a talk at
Oh, Twitter is the humor on Twitter is the best
oh
everywhere.
gosh, I was
It's
giving
so funny. I love it.
I was giving a talk at Georgia State University to I was actually a talk in a panel, and I don't think that people fully believe me when I tell them that I have built more relationships on like Friends clips, Boy Meets World gifs, Family Guy clips, than like 30-second pitches, even though it's 100% true. Um, it should be criminal the way you can use humor on Twitter. Um, I will say I'm you know, I'm just not a fan of how the platform has changed since Elon Musk took over, and that's all I'll say about it. Um,
Me too, brother. Me too.
so yeah, like we're not going to turn this into that. That's a whole different conversation. But what I really tell people is that, and this is a big portion of the talk that I give usually, and it's a really big portion of the book that I'm writing. Um, how to leverage different networks, right, to gain access to people and to gain and when I say gain access, it's really important that people understand that it's not just okay because I want something, right? Because this person has money, maybe they're an investor or whatever. It should be gain access because you want to learn from someone, you want to emulate their example, you really believe in the mission that they're working on. Um, Maybe they are an investor and you're right in their vertical, right? But it's non-transactional, right? And so how to leverage different networks, right? So Bobby, you have a huge following on Twitter, on LinkedIn. So I would look for, okay, where are you actively trying to build your footprint, right? I can still engage with your content on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, but you just mentioned that you're kind of new to YouTube, and so if I want to create value for you in a really, really visible way, maybe I'll go over to YouTube, watch your videos, leave some good comments because we all know that YouTube comments are dumpster fire usually, and create some value that way. Because who am I standing out from? A lot fewer people than I otherwise would, and this is a strategy that I've used time and again. Right, there was a this maybe last year or so. There was a TikTok influencer who I really liked her content. It brought a lot of value to my feed. At the time, she was at like 1.5 million on TikTok. Well, I'll still engage there, but numbers are not in your favor, just frankly. But she was at 7, 8, 9,000 on Twitter, and I could see she was posting daily, trying to build her footprint there. So I was still engaging with her on TikTok, but started engaging with her on Twitter. And it only took me about 10 weeks to pick up this person as a follower. Now, does that happen 100% of the time? Of course not. But understanding that it's okay to work on different platforms. So to answer your question, I'm on Twitter. I'm also very active on LinkedIn. I'm also trying my hand at TikTok and YouTube Shorts. I'm trying to get better at Instagram. Um, I'm trying my hand at, excuse me, at a number of different things, and it's okay to not have, well, the the kind of following that you do, because you've been doing this for quite a while. So I think it's really important to understand that building access, building networks, trying out different social platforms, it has more to do with, I tell people that follower count is ultimately irrelevant because it's kind of a vanity metric. What's really relevant is who do you have access to? Who have you created value for? Who will answer your email? Who will pick up your phone call? Who will go to bat for you? I mean, that's way more powerful than the number. And I wish that, and I understand because the number is staring at you in the face on every single social platform. So it's really hard to kind of disentangle yourself from that. But I encourage people to kind of think about, who do I want access to, individuals or organizations, and then why do I want access to those people, and where can I best create that access through creating value for that person or organization before I ask for value, before I ask them to value me, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to something you already said, which was, if you know the people you're trying to target, and let's say someone's trying to get my attention. The truth is, yeah, if someone wants to get my attention, I'm more likely to see the YouTube comment than anything else. And here's why. Because so LinkedIn and Twitter are platforms, and Instagram are platforms where I really built a strong following, right? 70,000 on LinkedIn, 35,000 on Instagram, 500,000 on Twitter. And so every single reply that comes by, I don't always see it. That's the truth. The truth is there's lots of them. The people who do it repeatedly and consistently will get my attention. If you reply to my comments, but even then, this goes back to the stupid thing about the platform, which sucks now. Like, just there's so many things are broken. Like, there's somebody who tweets me every day, and I've tried to mute them, and they keep showing up. And I was like, what's the point of muting if it doesn't work? The mute button doesn't work. I muted them, but I see their shit every day, and it annoys the hell out of me. It's like, where is the functionality? That really bothers me. It's like, but then there's other people who tweet all the time. They tag you and stuff, and they do it in gratitude, which is fine. But so some things that I don't actually see because I get a lot of replies to things that I post about. Um, that said, on YouTube, because it's new and because I am purposely trying to grow it, I not only get a few comments from a few people, where they're rare. Like I'd probably say on YouTube I get maybe one or two comments a week. But here's the other thing a lot of people don't know: all my LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter notifications from my phone are off. But on YouTube, I still have email notifications for a comment because I want to know if I get one. So, what that means is one of the best ways to get my attention is to comment on my YouTube channel video because, and so that video that's up there right now in the nest, the one where I talk about the membership community, it's a 10-minute video on YouTube. If you comment on that in a positive way, I will see it because I will get an email about it. And that definitely gets my attention depending on what you say. So a lot of people don't know that, but you made that really good point, Adam, about this. And so, yeah, I think that's really good to know where people are trying to build and what they're trying to do. I mean, I still love comment. I also, but again, I love comments on my LinkedIn posts. I appreciate those as well. But the fact is, I will get an email notification specifically about anyone who comments on my LinkedIn, on my YouTube video. So that's interesting. So a great trend that you point out is knowing where people are trying to build beyond the what they currently have and getting their attention.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I've been trying to my emojis aren't working. I was trying to give you hearts for all that because I think that we can kind of it can feel daunting is the best way to say it, right? To say, okay, look, when I look at who I want to network with, so much of it is in mindset and reframing things. So when I ran across your content on LinkedIn a few years ago, I think it was probably during COVID, when I was really starting to get back into LinkedIn heavily, I looked at your content and I was like, wow, I really like this. It's bringing some sort of positive value to my day when I read it. So the next question is, well, okay, how do I get in front of Bobby, right? In a way that isn't like the me show, because it should be the we show in your head. How do I get in front of him in a way that communicates non-verbally that I'm looking for a mutually beneficial dialogue because time is value. And the way to do that is to look at where somebody is trying to build, whether it's on a new platform or they're trying to get a new project off the ground, they have a new announcement, or they're working on a new overall theme in their content. I mean, whatever it is, we notice when someone else is picking up on that. I notice when someone else is looking at my content and recognizing, okay, this is something new that I'm trying, and they're out there talking about it or sharing it or even just commenting to me, hey, I really enjoyed this piece that you put out, because that's a way of them saying to me, I'm here, I exist, I'm paying attention, but I'm not asking for anything right now. I'm just telling you I really like what you're doing, and I hope you continue to do it, and I'll support it how I can. And that opens insane amounts of doors. The access becomes, I mean, crazy. And you can go look at the last 3 or 4 videos I put up um, on my LinkedIn page. Um, and the problem that I think oftentimes is patience. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over 2 weeks. And so it can feel like it's not working or like the needle isn't moving. But really, what you're doing is you're setting a foundation, a bedrock for a really good, mutually beneficial dialogue that can grow into the long term. So, to your point, if I'm looking at your content and going, "Wow, you probably get a zillion notifications on Twitter. You probably get more than that on LinkedIn." Where are you talking about sharing your content? Where you're trying, but maybe it's a totally different demographic of people. Your YouTube. So naturally, it makes sense for me to go over there and say, "Oh, I really like this video. I'd like to hear more of this content." Even if I saw the exact same video on LinkedIn, you're going to see that comment on YouTube when it may miss you on LinkedIn because you just get so many notifications. So, and that's something that I hear from a lot of my LinkedIn influencer friends who have, 50, 60, 100,000. You certainly have more than that, half a million, whatever. That I have friends who are like, just text me when you have a post because I can't look at my notifications. It's a mess. Um, so I think that really underscores your point, Bobby, that creating value in different places and being flexible that way, um, it creates access in a really, really interesting way, but it's not direct access immediately. It takes time. Uh, so I throw that to other people who may want to comment.
Yeah, I think the other thing I want to mention about that is that, when it comes to your content creation strategy, what can you do to be memorable, right? So you mentioned that, like, there's things you can do that help you stand out and become more memorable. Oftentimes, it's the quality of the content, how you talk, how you share, storytelling, vulnerability, personality, all those things you can do to be more memorable. But I think that there's also memorability with the reply, with the comment, and there's things that you can do to stand out as a content creator. So that's kind of why I think, if you're gonna, one of the things that trends really well with putting together really great content out there is, what are you doing on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and other platforms to really stand out and be noticed and be memorable. And we've talked about today the ways you can actually stand out and be more memorable. So I think that's been a good part of the conversation. Now, we've been here for almost an hour, so I'm probably gonna close it off now. But I do appreciate everyone that's been here. What I can tell you is that, if we do this every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and you're all welcome to come here every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern for the Power Connection chat, this Twitter space that I have. I won't be doing next week because it's a holiday in Canada. For some reason, Canada has a May long weekend the week before the American long weekend. So your Memorial Day is on the 29th. Our Canadian Victoria Day is on the 22nd. So I won't be here next week. But if anybody wants to be part of these conversations and maybe wants to share knowledge about a topic, we focus on the power connection, things that do with connections, relationship building, and all that kind of stuff. So if this is something that is of interest to you for your business, for your brand, then feel free to message me, DM me anytime, and we can tell you more about that. In the meantime, I encourage you to check out the link that I put in the nest about the new membership community that I've created. I'm very excited about the value I've created with that. We have a private LinkedIn group, we have a private WhatsApp group. We're doing mini trainings every week with some of the best experts and influential thought leaders that I know across all my platforms, across every topic. So you're going to get a lot of value being part of it. And there's already people in the community that are diverse, with have diverse expertise from around the world. So that's the power of membership if anyone's interested in that. So with that, Adam, I want to thank you for helping me with this room because it was a bit quieter today without my two other co-hosts. Do appreciate that. And if you have any further questions, watch for the replay. Here's a little tip for our content creation: you take a photo of the room, or you take a clip, or you take the tweet about the replay, and you basically tweet your followers, and you tag me, you tag Adam, and next thing you know, we notice it, and we might retweet our own followers. That's a very easy way to create content. A lot of people don't take that for an advantage as well. If you go to my YouTube channel and say, "Hey, this is a great video," and you take a photo of it and you tweet it out and share the link and tag me, I'll be like, "Yeah, thank you," and I'll retweet to my 500,000 followers, which will get you followers. So again, that's a win-win. So with that, content creation, follow the trends, leverage gratitude, and comment and engage people in a way that makes you memorable. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. Have yourself a wonderful week. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.